It's Too Many Men on the Mic, presented by Netfront LLC. Now here's Coach Drew and Coach Jared.
Well, we're done celebrating 250 years of America, which means we're on the backside of a federal holiday. Our next federal holiday is in the September timeframe. It's those dog days of summer. And here we are doing part 2 of the best of, back from assignment. Had a great week off covering activities that had literally nothing to do with hockey. So big thanks to Coach Jared and also Grant, who's not with us tonight, but that's okay, for keeping the saddle moving.
Is Grant on assignment? Is that what I'm hearing?
I think Grant is on assignment.
Grant is on assignment?
He is.
Well, it's great to have you back. We held the fort down as best we could. I think, a little bit going on in what they call the silly season in the NHL. I don't know. Did you get your $18 million offer letter?
I did not get my $18 million offer letter, but holy cow. I don't think anybody had that move on their bingo card.
Well, there was a flurry of trades. Teams are trying to rebuild their teams, kind of in an unconventional way, because the unrestricted free agent class just wasn't, what it has been in the past, especially when Tuck was traded and signed right off the bat with the Capitals. But Philly just going all in, basically said, yeah.
I mean, there's a visual, and the visual is taking all the chips and just putting them into the middle of the table.
I don't know if Leo Carlsson is worth $18 million today, but I will say this. There's a good chance he's worth $18 million in 3 years, and probably even more in the next 3 or 4.
How long's the deal?
8
5?
years. 8. I thought
is it 5 or 8? Hang on a second.
I mean, look, you're the research guy, dude. Yeah, you're our research guy.
I feel like it's 5. Hang on a second.
It could be 5. It could be 5.
And I guess my point in saying that, back to your point of, I think what you were alluding to is he might be worth it in 3 years. He might not be worth it today. And so you're betting on the come a little bit.
Yeah.
And that he's going to be there in 3 years. But is it a 5-year deal or is it an 8-year deal?
Well, I don't think they can give him an 8. I only think Anaheim.
I don't think you can do 8-year deals anymore.
That's right. Is it? I thought your team could do 8, but everybody else could have
5-year deal. 5 years. So you're betting on the fact that in year 3, this guy is going to be at market value, and essentially you're going to have him for 2 more years. So by year 3, he's going to be there. You're paying a little premium on the front end, which is why you're
$90 million.
I know, but tell me if I'm off here. If you know you're overpaying on the front end,
yeah,
that's why the contract is structured the way it is.
Yeah,
the signing bonus, and it's front loaded. Let's give the guy his money, and let's give ourselves relief on years 3 through 5.
And you look at that team. They get Leo Carlsson again. He's a number 1 center for that team. Now, is he worth? Here's the thing: is he worth $18 million to?
That's more than Connor McDavid for.
It's more than everybody.
Friendly reminder.
That's more than everybody. Which if you think about a guy like Dylan Larkin, I know we're talking about Detroit, but now Yzerman's like, okay, you want a number 1 center who's like right now producing more than Leo Carlsson for $8.7 million a year.
And for every team that's out there that has signed people, aren't you doing like a collective?
Whew. Well, Connor McDavid's going to be the first $20 million man. He has to be, right?
Absolutely.
He has to be. And that's a whole – we talked a little bit about that last week.
But now we're talking about like Bobby Bonilla Day. We're getting towards baseball where, Philadelphia has kind of made the first move here and said, we're going to give him $90 million, but we're going to give him like $40 million in the first 2 years. Are we going to get to the point where NHL hockey is going to have Bobby Bonilla Day for some of
like,
these guys and just have deferred comp for 15 years and just move the chips to the tail end, the backside. He's going to be 60. He's going to be getting paid.
And I probably should know this. When's the next CBA? Because I think they just had one. That's why I
feel like we've got two.
Yeah,
I feel like we've got 2
couple
years
of this. So
yeah.
I don't know, but like if I'm Philly and I've got Leo Carlson and Porter Martone, and you've got the
goalie,
their goaltender who was amazing,
fantastic.
They're pretty well
Konechny, but Zegras is an RFA. So what do you do now? You got Zegras. You just made that move, and he had an incredible.
He had a great year. Zegras. You
got Drysdale, who's also an RFA.
You got Couturier on that team. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's you're banking on being able to lock some guys up, but right now, the league has gone to number 1 and number 2 centers. If you've got a number 1, number 2 center, you are basically a contender.
What I really want to know is, do you think that Philadelphia Flyer ticket prices are going up?
For sure. And you know what? They'll pay it.
It's just going to
They will pay it.
Is this trickle down economic?
Everything is. I mean, they're going to have to. I mean, look how
it's $24 a beer instead of $22 a beer.
I mean, so it's funny because Brendan and Kelly were out of town, so I took Sean to a Blues game. We went and saw the Blues play Edmonton, and even Sean's like, $10 for a hot dog. And the Blues aren't paying $18 million to anybody. So, I just look at it as a fan, this is like PlayStation hockey where or Xbox hockey where you're able to, we're going to trade these guys. We're going to try and build this team. And, even though we just saw Carolina win with the model of patience and development, but Florida, Vegas,
all right,
Tampa, there's no patience in development. It is pay and let's go win now.
Okay, you're Pat Verbeek. What do you do?
Pat Verbeek should be fired.
Do you match or do you let him
take
off?
that? Hey, that's a hot take. Clip that. Pat Verbeek should be fired. I mean, how do you let Leo Carlson get to the point where like you should have?
He had all the leverage and it's gone.
The clock strikes midnight. Leo's, we've already agreed to this. $13 million. They probably could have locked him up
for 10.
Maybe 13. Maybe 13. Because you look at Kaprizov's a winger, and he's Russian, so he could be 10 years older. We don't know, but he's at least
we don't know how old
he's at least 5 years older.
He's like Albert Pujols.
Exactly. He's at least 5 years older. And you're like, well, if you're Leo Carlson's agent, you're like 21 years old, almost a point a game. It was a force in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But and here's the thing, you get your 4 first-round draft choices over the next 4 years. Well, what if Philly's drafting in 27 plus? Then it's like, I think you have to re-sign him if you're Anaheim. You can't let a number 1 center walk out the door. And you're not going to be able to go get Dylan Larkin because he's not waiving his no trade clause to go to Anaheim.
But then what are you going to do with Cutter?
You know what? I didn't even think about that because the whole Philly Cutter Gauthier
it changes the whole dynamic.
Well, is this Philly saying we don't like you because you guys? I mean, this is so. I love if this is where the NHL is going. Deal me in. I'm in.
I mean, isn't there a John Lennon song called "Mind Games"?
Oh, that's a great song. You have to bring Lennon up. We will go way off the rails. Best of 1978 debut albums. Go ahead, name them. Van Halen. We will go off the rails if we start talking music. But
we're here for a best of part 2.
Absolutely.
And let's start off with a youth hockey organization from far in the Northwest. So far in the Northwest that we separate lower 48 from 2 states, and this is one of them. And so this is from the great state of Alaska and the Alaska Youth Hockey Association. And I learned some great things in this conversation, like the Alaska Youth Hockey Organization has one of the largest, they claim the largest. I would say it's...
Is that like the ketchup bottle in Collinsville? Largest ketchup bottle in the world.
It is. It's like every Nostalgiaville place that you drive on the highway and they're like largest ball of twine, largest
Route
people
66,
like this,
Route 66, right? Heading up to Alaska.
But we had the pleasure of speaking with the Alaska Youth Hockey Organization and hearing about their youth hockey B and C tournament. I love this B and C. So the equivalent of this for people that don't play B and C hockey at the youth hockey level is these are your players that are just trying to get better every day. They're figuring out how to skate forwards and backwards. They're figuring out how to make a pass on the tape. They're figuring out how to move in stride. They're trying to figure out how to keep their head up and each day just get a little bit better. And maybe they progress and eventually become a higher B level player or an A level player. And maybe if they even continue that, they might have the opportunity to play AA hockey potentially.
Well, the great thing, and Kirk Kullberg, the director of hockey for Alaska, who we talked to, he also talks about the challenges they have being so far removed from the lower 48, and the challenges they have in retaining players in Alaska. There's been a lot of talent that has come out of Alaska per capita. Not just Scotty Gomez,
Colton Parayko.
Exactly. And, they talk about his coaching philosophy, but the one thing that's stuck with me, and, I'm a nerd about, hockey and all of that, and he drew up a great drill for us. But the one thing that really stuck with me is we're here to build great humans through hockey. And so have a listen. This is from the Alaska Youth Hockey Organization out of Anchorage. We got a great chance. This is Kirk Kullberg. Have a listen, and then go ahead and like and subscribe on YouTube, and go listen to the full interview on your free time. So here's Kirk Kullberg, Anchorage Youth Hockey Association.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
Kirk, welcome. Welcome to the Too Many Men on the Mic show, and thanks for spending time highlighting the great things that are going on in youth hockey in Alaska. Before you joined, you were telling us a little bit about a little bit of off-ice facility that you built there. So why don't you share with the listeners how you're improving the environment over at Anchorage Youth Hockey with your off-ice facility?
Well, as we are the biggest program in the city of Anchorage, and one of the biggest ones in the state. I think it kind of goes back and forth between us and Fairbanks, who's bigger. And so we felt the need from our membership to kind of enhance we wanted, what's a perk of being a member of the Anchorage Hockey Association? And we felt like off-ice training was going to be one of the things that was next for us. I don't know what they pay for ice in the lower 48 everywhere we go, other when we rent it for tournaments, stuff like that. But here it's, $385 to $500 an hour, which is crazy in a state that's cold and you can go skate outside.
Yeah, no kidding. You guys have ODRs, I would think, right?
Yeah. I mean, I have one in my backyard that's 70 by 40, and that's a good rink from end of October, maybe early November through March. But the off-ice training was a big thing that we felt we needed to incorporate. And so we're in the end of our first season with this off-ice facility. It's got a full-on parent lounge, shooting lanes. We have we call it our cognitive training area, where we can do like reaction-based stuff. And some teams just come in here and do like yoga. And then other teams come in here and they take advantage of shooting pucks and stick handling and whatnot. So,
I love it. Well, you don't let any of the parents into the shooting lane, right? You keep them in the parents' lounge, right?
Yeah, they got a glass area. They get to, it's like a zoo. They just get to hang out behind the glass and watch the animals train.
Drew and I were a part of an organization where we built out an off-ice facility. Sounds very similar to yours. And I think the biggest piece of that, obviously getting kids in to be able to be with their team and save a few bucks when you're working on passing and shooting, but it's also the community aspect. I'm sure you guys have trophies and banners and medals, and when those kids come in as mini mites, 6Us and 8Us, and they see the older kids and what they can shoot for, it's got to be great and just a great culture and environment for them.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. That's cool to have that, just everything about your organization encompassed in one little area.
Well, tell our listeners a little bit about Anchorage Youth Hockey. You probably have lots of different players in your organization, boys and girls, I would imagine. How many members are there? And then tell us a little bit about all the different levels in your organization.
We have every level. So we start with the little learn to skate kids at 3 and 4 years old at the Diamond Center, with programs of learn to play and 6U there all the way through 8U red, white, and blue, just like per USA Hockey. And then we have full-fledged rec and comp programs for both boys and girls. So we field teams at the national bound level for tier 2 for boys and girls. And then we have our developmental programs at 10U and 12U. Alaska does do something kind of weird where it's not necessarily classified like it is down in lower 48. We have 10U and 12U. We call them major and minor. So, those kids play in the Alaska League. And then we also have our rec programs with our recreational B and our recreational A divisions.
Sounds like, although you guys are isolated, you call us the lower 48, which I absolutely love. Sounds like, though, the journey from mite to 18U for boys and mite to 19U for girls, it's a similar trajectory. You guys are national bound. In fact, my son at 14U played Team Alaska in nationals up in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Unbelievable talent and competitive group of kids that we played against then, and that was 5 years ago. Talk a little bit about, when you go from that rec league to your team, your Alaska league, into that 14U, 15U, 16U bracket. What in Missouri and in other places, you tend to the teams there's less teams and the talent gets a little bit more filtered. How do you work that with kids that maybe aren't at AA or even that AAA level as they progress to 14U and 16U? What are their options and where can they get to play? And what does that development journey look like?
Well, the nice thing about Alaska is everyone knows everyone, right? Like everyone knows everyone in a specific birth year. And so we have a great feeder system, like our Anchorage Hockey Association has a big rec program that feeds our comp program that then in turn feeds Team Alaska, right? And Team Alaska being our tier 1 program housed underneath the state affiliation. So there's always a spot for any one of them to play. I would say, developmentally, it's been a process. Matt Thompson's done a great job of kind of creating this environment for Team Alaska to thrive in and keep kids back in Alaska. And that gives something for all those kids. You want all those programs to look up to each other. So you want the Rec B kids to see the Rec A kids and be like, I'm going to be that next year.
Right.
And then the Rec A kids are like, I'm making a comp team. I'm going to a camp. I'm doing power skating. I'm doing whatever. I'm going to work out all summer, and I'm going to make a comp team in August. Typically, our tryouts for our comp programs are the second week of August, which is kind of weird, but it works out. And then, those kids who played tier 2, they're like, I'm going to make Team Alaska 15 only or 16s next year. And so I think for us, it's pretty simple. Like, right, it's just the landscape is there, and kids just have the ability to go play where they fit in.
I love it. So tell us a little bit about what role does hockey play in the culture of Anchorage? And you have a very large Indigenous community there. Is that part of the culture that feeds into hockey, and is there outreach to that community that goes on?
Yeah, and I would say I couldn't give you specific numbers because we just go like, hey, everybody's in this program, and I don't even know if we look at numbers based off of ethnicity or like whether they're Indigenous people or not. I think that we just have like a big family and everybody's a part of it. I know that we've had more outreach recently because we've had a good relationship with the Seattle Kraken, and that's brought the NHL Kraken Learn to Play program. I'm pretty good friends with Marty Halinka, who's the youth director for Seattle Kraken. And this all kind of started a long time ago with this camp I run. They wanted to come up here and run a camp. They ended up just joining with me. And now we have Kraken Week at the Anchorage Hockey Academy every year. And then that fed into, now we're going to do the Kraken Learn to Play once a year and get another 100+ kids into the game. Well, Bristol Bay Native Corporation's affiliated with the Seattle Kraken. They're good with us. And so we just kind of have this trio of how many kids can we get into the game in one summer. And so that's been awesome because that's also given us this great process for like hockey's an expensive sport. And the most expensive part of joining a program is buying all the gear. So when you get into that NHL learn to play program, and then you get this kid who maybe couldn't have afforded to be able to buy the gear, gets a full set head to toe, 10, 12 practices. Now they love the game. Done, right? That kid's hooked for life. And then, they get to grow with all the same reasons that we love hockey, building good people. So I'd say that was a roundabout answer to say, like, I think there's good outreach, and I think that everyone gets incorporated as much as they want to be.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Yep. You gotta get the Kraken up there to play a game like Mystery Alaska, that movie. You gotta get them up there. Maybe get them and the Canucks to play a game up in Anchorage.
Unreal. I would be a legend if I could sort that
out. But we would love to come up to Alaska and broadcast live with that game. So let's put our heads together and figure that out. That sounds like a pretty good idea, right? We were talking about Oregon last week, but we've got a little further afield with coming up to Alaska in this show. So that would be really, really cool. Tell us a little bit about hockey teams, hockey organizations. They try to build an identity and a culture. Here in St. Louis, we've got 12 different organizations, and each organization has their own what they're known for, whether it's high skill, gritty, tough play, kind of blue collar. Talk a little bit about beyond just the skill development with Anchorage and Anchorage hockey. What's kind of that identity that you and your fellow coaches and directors try to instill with those kids that they take beyond just their youth hockey?
I would say a friend of mine, Clint Lancaster, once told me, we had this discussion, like, what do we want our identity to be, our mission to be? And we came up with, we make good people that play hockey. And understandably that, we want to build like a system of work ethic and sportsmanship and just good human beings. And so I'd say that's our biggest identity, right? That's the culture that we want to portray. I don't know that we get portrayed as like the winners all the time, or even though, like, I think
that's worth applause there, my friend.
I appreciate that. We do have 2 national bound teams that are going to, or 2 teams from our program, the 14U North Stars and the 16U North Stars, are now going to compete for nationals. So, the end game does work. If you do the right things for the right reasons, eventually you get rewarded. That's the way it is. So we really impress upon like the building good human being things. And we do that by trying to provide this environment where we have the coaches that are in the right spots and the coaches that we want to be there that are creating good human beings and reinforcing the good habits.
Can I follow up on that? Because you mentioned coaches, and we're all coaches here. Drew and I, kind of grew up with this sport. So with us, it was kind of, as we had kids, it was an easy transition. Are there a lot of coaches, volunteer coaches in your organization that, kind of came to hockey because their kids found it? And how are you developing, those great coaches to create a pipeline of talent from the coaching ranks?
It's funny that you asked that specifically, because I always have this joke, like the number of dads that I've taught them how to skate with their kids. Like they're like, hey, I was like, I'd come out and help you, but I don't know how to skate. And I'm like, dude, USA hockey number, put a helmet on, I will show you. And that's the number of guys that's happened with, or girls. It's been unbelievable. And I think growing the coaching core is probably one of the biggest struggles, right? Because like the number of volunteers that you have really is the backbone of your organization. That's the way it is. And Anchorage Hockey Association, I would say 95% of our coaches are volunteers. I say that because I think we have a couple of comp coaches right now that are not dads on the team. So they get paid a stipend, and they earn that. They put in the work. But everything else, all of our rec program coaches, all of our Little Dipper, C-Pup coaches, and I'm talking about programs that we have right now, they're all volunteers. And so our MITE program alone has 85 different coaches. And so each one of those is like, we're trying to build this 6-to-1, 4-to-1, 5-to-1 ratio on the ice. And also the coaching education aspect for us has been huge. So we have coaches symposiums amongst our own organization where we bring in a highly sought after coach, like a Nick Walters, who formerly was with University of Alaska Anchorage with the Wolverines, then kind of just floating around like gun for hire, I'll call him. we bring him in. Hey, come talk to our coaches about power play and make it to where it's an environment where those volunteer coaches want to learn. It's awesome, right? Because they all want to get better. They all want to be good at what they're doing. And so we get a mixture of the coaches that learn to play, and then you get the mixture of the coaches that they grew up playing here. They're former UAA players. I'd say we took a hit now that the Aces aren't around. If you ever heard of the Alaska Aces, that was our former ECHL team.
ECHL team.
What's that?
ECHL team.
Yeah. And so we banked on those guys. Like they stayed here, they played here, they retired, then they coach youth teams. Well, I don't have that anymore. So that kind of sucks. But so now we're developing homegrown coaches or getting, like I'm going to throw a guy out here right now in our 8U Red program, and our Learn to Play program is Joey Crabb. Joey Crabb played for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the best part was my son's on the ice. My 14-year-old son's on the ice helping me, and he's a big Toronto Maple Leafs fan. And he goes, "Dad, that guy's wearing Toronto Maple Leaf gloves." And I was like, "Yeah, that's Joey Crabb. He played for him." And he just couldn't even go near him. It's hilarious. and so you have a range of guys like that. And then like the dad that we taught how to skate last season with his kid because he wanted to get involved. So.
And do those coaches, I got to ask, now that you trained them and got them on the ice and got them to a place where they're comfortable and they're coaching, does that extend into men's? What's the men's league look like up there?
Yep. That's usually what I see about year 2 or 3 with them is then they start, they friend me on Facebook and I see them score their first goal or they're playing some adult league game. And yeah, it's that.
I've never heard of a men's league coach pulling up a live bar. Never heard of it. Never heard of it.
Oh, the St. Louis flag fell.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. We'll take that.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that you're developing dads along with the kids, and I love that there's an extension into men's hockey. That's fantastic. And like a lot of organizations that we've talked to all over the country, that's a common theme, right? We're training up dads and moms that maybe haven't been exposed to the game and putting them in a position to learn the game and coach.
I mean, here in St. Louis, where we have an NHL market that's been here since 1967, not as long as Anchorage is. That's math, and math is undefeated. But it was amazing to me as I was coaching my sons. The dads who would, some moms too, but mostly dads, would be so on their kids. Oh my gosh, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And mind you, they're great hockey fans, but their exposure to the game is watching the best of the best play it on. And so our team manager, I'll never forget this. My older son was in 10th. Team manager said to these dads, "Well, you guys still play?" And they're like, "We can't skate." And so by the end of that season, they started with an adult learn to play program that we have here in St. Louis. And I think about 3 practices in, they were like, "My kid is so good at hockey." and those to their credit, a couple of those dads became coaches. And all of them are still playing adult hockey and probably became better hockey parents because of the perspective that sometimes when somebody's voluntold to be a coach, they actually get a greater appreciation and greater perspective for the game than somebody who's played it since they were 8 years old.
Yep.
Hey, Kirk, tell us a little bit about how the opportunities that are available for kids to move on as they grow and develop in the game. So as they get out of, I should say, Pee Wee and get into the high school ranks, and then potentially junior opportunities. What's that look like up there?
So we have a good high school league, and I would say, not like most programs, we have kind of like a weird dynamic with high school hockey, right? You have like the Bantams, the 14-year-olds, the freshmen that they can, they kind of like, they're kind of Gumby. Their seasons kind of run all year long. And so they kind of dual participate. They play high school and on their comp teams pretty much the entire year. The 16U and 18U teams, they have a little bit heavier schedule when it comes to high school hockey. So they, for the most part, those national bound teams shut down. This year specifically, the Team Alaska kids didn't participate in it. There's, trust me, you don't want me to get into like that dynamic. It was what it was, but it gave some of the younger kids an opportunity to be able to participate in high school hockey. And my son got to do it for the first time this year, which is great. He's a freshman, so I got to watch him play against 18-year-olds as a 14-year-old. And that's a cool dynamic to see, are they either going to sink or they're going to swim. And I think that's been good for him and kids like him. As far as the junior teams go and like how kids get opportunities, we've had plenty of players from our Team Alaska teams this year have gotten to play NAL games within, amongst the 3 NAL teams that we have, because we have the Fairbanks Ice Dogs up north. We have the Anchorage Wolverines here in town. And then we have the Kenai Brown Bears down 3 hours away. So, and there's been a bunch of different kids that have gotten opportunities to kind of go there. Each one of those teams has Alaska-based kids on it, which is important, right? Like those, and even our Division I program, the Seawolves, they have a bunch of Anchorage and Alaska-based kids on their team as well. So it's important for other kids to see that too, right? Because we were talking about, the Rec B kids want to be the Rec A kids and so forth. Like getting to see those players from Alaska get those opportunities, and then how much they, publicize it. That's important because kids know that there's an opportunity. We do, as a state, have a huge problem with kids leaving at young ages.
Yeah.
I think one of my buddies who was looking into it, or Matt Thompson, sorry, he's the Team Alaska director. He was telling me, I want to say it's like 40 kids in one birth year. It's like 2010s, 40 2010s or 09s are gone.
Wow.
And so that's huge. That's a big number.
Well, we hope you liked a little bit of flavor of Anchorage youth hockey. Again, go back and listen to the full episode on either Spotify, Apple, or Amazon, or wherever you get your podcast. We would really love if you went over to YouTube, looked it up on our YouTube feed, and liked and subscribed. Just like we hope that you like and subscribe to this episode. But one of the things that Kirk Kullberg had mentioned is they're trying to build great humans through hockey. And this next segment, we have what I consider a great human. So we'll set the stage here. Through our Mid-States Game of the Week broadcast, Drew and I had the opportunity to talk to high school hockey coaches and players who we were spotlighting their game. And we had a chance to spotlight Rockwood Summit. And one of the players we got to talk to was junior alternate captain Blake Warren, and it was around Christmas time, and let's just say Blake did not disappoint. So we loved Blake so much in his little pregame, minute and 42-second snippet that we brought him back for a full episode.
He came back for his own episode. He was that memorable.
And Blake may become a show contributor this season. I think as a senior year, I think we absolutely should have him.
He should be our roving ice reporter.
Absolutely. And, Blake also runs track, and he talked about how he actually stepped away from hockey. Here was a kid that was playing Central States, but wanted to not just be a one sport athlete. He wanted to get the full high school experience, and then came back to high school hockey and realized how much he missed it. And he's a great, not only is he a great hockey player, but like I said, he's a great human being. And he has some funny stories, not all of which I think made the show.
Lots of energy. If you need a little pickup, this is your episode clip to listen to.
Yeah. So we're going to break here now and turn it over to Blake Warren from Rockwood Summit in his own interview. And I think it was more of an audition tape to be the roving ice correspondent for the Too Many Men on the Mic show. Have a listen. Blake, what's going on? Welcome back to Too Many Men on the Mic.
First 3-time member.
Did you know the third time on the show? Did you know?
I just had a jaw-dropping moment hearing that. I'm honored to be the first. I'm honored to be the first 3-time guest, guys. I'm honored. Thanks for having me on.
You know what? We're going to be like SNL. You're going to get a 5-timer jacket, and then you'll be able to wear that on the 5th time in.
Well, if you play your cards right, you might get a guest host gig, or we'll do a little spin-off show. one mini men on the mic or something for Blake Warren. Blake,
Yeah,
thanks for
you
coming
can't
on
change
board.
the too many men on the mic. It's such an iconic name. You can't
Well,
change it.
yeah, are you subscribed to the YouTube channel? The answer is yes,
Yeah.
right?
And I'm subscribed, and I'm so I don't know what it's called on Spotify, but it's in my library. It's
Absolutely.
subscribe
Yeah.
following on Spotify.
Following. There you go. Well, Blake, man, obviously we love having you on. You were so memorable when you came on into our roundtable and our pregame for the game of the week when we were doing the Mid-States game of the week. We're shifting to more of that player focus here as we go into the off season. And Coach and I were like, who's a great player to come on and talk about his journey from the time he was playing mini mite hockey all through youth hockey, some other sports, took a couple detours, maybe some time off.
Yeah.
We may have a couple stories or two to ask you about. But thanks as always for joining the show. Start us off though, man. How did you get into hockey? And talk a little bit about that, the program you were with, and who was the catalyst? There's a word that got you into hockey as a little guy.
Well, first of all, I want to say I might be the first 5 times guest on Too Many Men on the Mic because I'm actually a junior. So.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You are a junior.
Yeah. No offense taken.
No. You're gonna have to be the 6th time guest.
Yeah. So I might
We're gonna edit
you
that.
guys
Edit
next
that.
to the hockey journey isn't over, right? It's just getting started. But
let's talk about it.
I first got into hockey. My dad played hockey in high school for a short stint. He played with the Limburg Flyers. He was on the Limburg Flyers. Yeah, I know, right? Terrible jerseys. Played for 4 years there, but nothing other than that. And then my older brother was playing when I was about 6 or 7. He was in 8U. And you know how it is when you're at that age, you just want to be like your bigger brother. So that's how I first got into hockey and to learn to play, watching my brother play.
What organization you were with? Afton? Were you with?
Oh yeah, we were with Afton. We were with Afton pretty much the whole way up until I stopped playing club.
Yeah,
it still looked the same back then.
Yeah, right. Has their logo ever changed?
Just the colors. They've got a little darker blue every once in a while.
Locker rooms haven't changed.
One shade darker.
Yeah, one shade darker. I don't know if they've changed the grease off the fryers for the breakfast sandwiches. That's why they're so good.
Oh my gosh, so good.
Well, talk a little bit about that. You're starting off as a 8U, 6U player. There's a lot of kids that they don't like the equipment. They don't like being on the ice. Why did you take to it? Why was it like you were like, hey, I want to do this. This is fun. Talk a little bit about that.
I feel like just growing up in a hockey house and, being around a hockey culture, which I feel like we need to do better as a hockey community is push that hockey culture. I just saw it from a young age and saw my brother do it and saw, people around me talking about it. And it kind of got hyped up to the point where it's like I want to be a part of this, I don't want to be left out, And it just, came down to, when I was in first grade, learning how to playing 8U, going to school and telling my friends about hockey, not necessarily bragging because none of my friends played hockey, but, it was something different that they didn't do. And it was like, look at me, I play hockey,
What position did your older brother play?
He's been a center all of his life, center, left wing, forward at that young of an age, but forward, I guess, at that young of an age.
Yeah. Does he still play? Is he still playing men's now?
Yeah, he played junior notes this year, but he's done. He's done now.
Yeah.
He had a short stint with the junior Blues. Yes.
Oh,
well, yeah. You're never done.
Yeah.
You just go into men's hockey.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of what you talk about culture.
What'd you say?
That's what you mean. That's kind of part of what you mean by culture. I mean, I love that you said that as as a 16, 17-year-old, young man talking about culture as to why you like hockey. Tell us a little bit more about what you mean by that, because that's something that feels like there's a take there.
It's hard to know the culture before you get into hockey, right? But playing football and playing track, there's a special bond you create while playing hockey that's different from other sports. There's this sense of brotherhood that you create while playing hockey that you carry into men's league with, all the older men. There's just this type of culture, this type of connection in the hockey world that's hard to explain unless you're out there playing and you're a part of it or been a part of it.
Well, you brought up football and you brought up track, so you had a foray into both then?
Yes, I have. Hockey's not actually my main sport, even though I love it to death. We'll never stop loving hockey, but track's actually, well, track was my second love, but my main love now,
What are
quite the
your
love
races?
story.
What are your races? What are your go-to races?
So, do you guys know what the decathlon is?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm
Wasn't it
training to
Dan
be.
and Dave back when we were younger? Dan and Dave. I mean, before he was born, but they had the two guys.
Bruce Jenner at the Catholic.
He was, but after him in the '90s, it was Dan and Dave, and they did like the Nike thing.
Oh yeah.
So talk about so you're doing javelin, you're doing
Yeah. So
shot put.
doing it all, man. So in high school, my man, well,
That's
I'll
10
get-
events
hold on.
in one. 10 events in one, right?
It is, yes, 10 events in one.
Decathlon.
Wow, you guys know. Wow.
Hey, look at that.
You're catching
I mean, I'm just catching up on my Greek. Deca.
No, but in high school, I'll usually stick to the 110 hurdles, the 300 hurdles, and the javelin, and then I'll throw in a relay every meet
Mhm.
because in high school you're limited to four events per track meet. Last year was great. I really got into track last year. I set a few freshman, sophomore records for my school, and that's when I really started to take it seriously, like training every day. Just going hard in the off season. Which actually led to, because I was training track all through hockey season and all through football, I was just training track, lifting, sprinting, doing all the 10 events. I ended up with a stress fracture in my back
Yeah.
during the hockey season, which was insane to play through.
Yeah.
So what'd you play in football?
I'm a receiver tight end, so I'll do some receiving and then they'll split me in and do some blocking, kind of like a utility guy.
So I have to believe all of that movement. 10 events. I know you're limited to 4, but still 4 events in track. You're playing both sides of the ball in football. I have to believe that only makes you a better hockey player, right? And
Yes,
when you get on the ice after playing football and running track, do you feel light?
Yeah, and vice versa, by the way, too. Playing hockey makes you a better athlete for your other sports, too. So
Absolutely.
vice versa, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Playing track and playing football has made me that's what I credit like my hockey growth in, because like freshman year, because I didn't play my 8th grade year, I originally quit club to go to football, but playing football and track, like I'll always till I die encourage hockey guys to play more than one sport. Like don't just be a hockey guy, because playing football and playing track just made me so much more quick on my feet, so much more faster, and I was able to utilize those skills in hockey to just improve my game so much and change my play style.
That quick twitch.
Yeah, man.
Went off. Well, it's funny you mentioned football because I had a little text back and forth with one of your teammates, Wyatt Schneider, who also multi-sport athlete, great baseball player.
Great athlete.
Great baseball player, great athlete. And he mentioned that your football mentality. Whenever the guys would always try and be on your team in the 1v1, the 2v2s, the 3v3s, because you were just gooning people out there on the ice. So talk a little bit about that. As it makes you you embrace that physicality. Talk a little bit about that aspect of playing multiple sports and bringing that to hockey and vice versa.
Yeah, so obviously, in football, there's an extreme, weightlifting, big man culture, just
Gotta get those traps going, man.
just a total like dude culture in football. So like I said, in 8th grade, I didn't play hockey. I went to football. So that's when I started to, get that, oh, I'm a dude, type of mentality.
You dude up.
Yeah. So, and then I went into freshman year and played another round of football. So this is now 2 seasons of football without hockey. And then I'm like, you know what? My brother's playing hockey. I've played hockey all my life. Like I gotta join up with my brother. I gotta play with my brother. That's the reason I first played. But then stepping back onto the ice freshman year, I'm like, I've kind of lost some skill. Like, what do I have? And the only thing I had was my total, like, I'm 6'2", 190. I'm bigger than anybody else. I'm gonna go out there and beat everybody up. That's the only thing I can do. So my role freshman year, obviously I progressed past that, but my role freshman year is just I was a fourth line guy.
I was
My
gonna say
role,
fourth liner, baby.
Called you a
yeah,
bully, man.
my role every time I went out there freshman year was just to put someone on the ground, try to put as many people on the ground as I can. Get snow in the goalie's eyes. Do whatever I can to get that competitive advantage.
Oh, I'm sure the first line was loving you coming
Oh
in on the
man,
backside of your shift. They're like,
yeah.
okay, great. They took out all the bodies, and now we can just go out and score.
Everybody's
That's
running
right.
and hiding because Blake the bully's out here.
Right.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because certainly your freshman year you weren't lighting up the scoreboard but as you progress, 18 points in 19 games your next year, and then 28 points in 19 games this year. So if you kind of forgot your skill, I think you found it. So talk a little bit about what were you doing to help with that skill besides playing other sports away from the ice?
Well, first of all, in the off season, I would get in. Do you guys know Coach Rody by chance?
Oh no, I know Sean really, really well. In fact,
Sean
I
Rody.
was talking to him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, me and my brother would get in with him over the off season, and then Summit
Yeah.
also has a thing over the summer, a Summit Run high school thing that we skate three times a week over the summer together as a team, and the middle school guys will come up.
Mhm.
So I did that every summer, and I just like, man, every time I went out there, it was just intent on getting better in something. I didn't just show up there just because I had to go, because oh, I got to go to practice. It was like, what can I do today to get better? How can I get better at a skill that I can incorporate into my game? So just really like focusing, pinpointing something in practice and focusing on something and then applying that to a game. That's what really made me better. And also my mentality really shifted from freshman year. Like freshman year, I was like the defensive guy, going out and hitting people with the puck. This year I kind of took that play style and like adapted it almost to where like nope, like my mentality was not I'm gonna knock everybody down. It's like nobody's gonna take the puck from me. Like I'm gonna get the puck down low and I'm gonna just keep it for 15 seconds and wait for a play to open up because nobody can take the puck from me. So just that mentality shift with the new acquired skills that I had gained back or gained, just that really elevated my game.
That's awesome.
So when you were playing football as a receiver, were you kicking on your sprinting skills there? Because you're a decathlete. Were you just was it smoke as soon as you got the ball, and none of those cornerbacks and safeties could catch you?
Or are you a possession receiver, man? You're a PO receiver, right? Possession receiver.
So yeah, funny enough, I've never like I'm not to brag, but like even though it doesn't look like it on skates too, like I look slow on skates, but like I'm fast. So even though I'm fast in football, like I feel like I started late to where I never really learned how to like, bounce off a tackle or, juke out someone in open field. So
You didn't have to. You just run away.
Oh yeah, I was always that go up and get it guy and then just run north as long as I can in football.
Nice.
Last minute of play in this period.
So how does that translate over to hockey? I have to believe then with that kind of speed and that mentality and just breakaway, you're probably a nightmare on the forecheck then, right? You're forechecking hard and you're first on puck.
And playing defense in football, it taught me so well how to like angle the puck in hockey and use the boards to your advantage. Because the boards, what it essentially is like a sideline in football. And in football, they teach this whole technique about like using the sideline as a second man. Like it's you in the sideline against the dude with the ball. So learning that through football just really helped my defensive game with hockey on just learning how to angle people and learning how to get the puck away from them.
Well, I love that. From one Blake to another, we're shifting gears and we're moving over to a fantastic interview. One of the things that we didn't cover up until this point over the last year was what happens to you beyond 18U? What are your hockey options that are out there? And we had the pleasure of speaking to, I have to say, one of the most articulate young men I think I've ever spoken to in my life.
We've been lucky to interview a lot of intelligent guests, and I think the IQ level on this show more than doubled with Blake. And that was 3 of us. So what does that tell you? Math's undefeated. And Blake's journey is amazing how, he was not a AAA player, not a Central States player, but he's what we do this podcast for. And, a kid who has a great story about how he came in and became a hockey player. And now he's playing in college. He's playing ACHA hockey at Northwestern. Not a big deal. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I would add also to it that at one point he thought about walking away from hockey completely. And he stuck with it, and he found his groove, and ultimately he has found a place playing on the Northwestern University ACHA team. Fantastic interview. Such a great spoken young man. I won't say he's going to be Blake Warren, our roving reporter, but he might be a contributing editor on the Too Many Men on the Mic, maybe ACHA coverage here in the future.
Yeah, either that or he's going to do all of our investments for us.
He will. This is Blake Dorn from Northwestern University. Have a listen.
It's great to see you, and thanks so much for joining us, man. Catch us up, man. Tell us what college life is like at Northwestern.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks so much for having me on. Obviously, I appreciate it a lot. Winding down the year at Northwestern, I have about a few weeks left. It's definitely been a great ride so far. Obviously, the academics have been pretty challenging, but I would say it's going well. I'm having a great time. I have a lot of great friends. Hockey's going well. School part's going well. So yeah, no complaints at all.
So Blake, how often are you on the ice practicing with your ACHA team?
So on a regular week, we'll have 2 or 3 skates a week and then games on the weekends. So say 4 or 5 times a week.
Okay. So that's a good, healthy amount of ice that you're touching. And I take it you've got games in town, but then you've got games out of town. And how frequently are you hitting the road?
Yeah. So the divisions, it's kind of weird. It got realigned last year. So most of our teams that we play are in the Chicagoland area. We do have a few trips though. So like this past year, we went to Los Angeles. We played Loyola Marymount. We went to Madison, Wisconsin. We went to a place called Fond du Lac in Wisconsin. Not the best place to go and a lot to do. And then next year we're going to Arizona, Miami of Ohio, and then St. Louis for playoffs. So yeah, it's a good amount, but I would say most of our games are in the Chicagoland area.
Well, tell us a little bit about, we're going to get into this journey and we're going to have a little bit of fun. But tell us a little bit about what are you studying? What are you majoring in at Northwestern? And, how often are you catching the train down to the city? We'll make sure your mom and dad aren't listening, when we drop the episode. So.
Yeah. I've been going downtown a lot. Obviously there's a train station right by my dorm actually. So it's super convenient. I can go down anytime I want. It's been a great time. What was the first question you asked? I'm sorry.
What are you majoring in? What's the studies like?
So right now I haven't declared, but I'm planning on doing a double major in political science and legal studies, and then a possible minor in history or Spanish. I haven't decided which one. But obviously the pre-law track. Yeah.
I mean, right away, he's the smartest guy on the podcast, Drew.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, we're super excited to have you on here. And I know you've listened to the show. We talk a lot about, what we call the 90% in youth hockey, the kids that are playing, C through A1 level, and, understanding that that's where the sport needs to grow. We need to make sure we're keeping those kids in it. You went through that track. I mean, you were a A-level player. I think you ended your minor career playing AA midget. But, between that and going to such a great high school, why don't you tell us a little bit about what, the 10U and 12U Blake was like and what that experience was and why you kept playing this great sport?
Right. So I'll start off going way back. My dad played hockey at SLU High, actually, back in the day, a long time ago. So he always visioned me and my brother Noel playing hockey. So I think I started when I was 6. I went to a skate, absolutely hated it so much. I cried and left the ice. I didn't go back, and I refused to play for a while. And then I started watching hockey, watching the Blues, going to Blues games, getting into it. And I was like, okay, hey, I can give this another try. So maybe 9 or 10, I started skating again. Played my first year with the Rockets with Coach Whitworth. Shout out to him. He's absolutely amazing. And yeah, I quickly found that I was at that level. I was one of the better players on the team, one of the better skaters. So I got moved to defense, and then yeah, from there it's been a movie since then.
Yeah, you see how he slid that in there, Drew. I heard it. He prepped them. Well, I'll let you two guys hash it out here because there's gonna be a love fest now. You talked about skating and defense.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love a defender, but you went to Blues games. I love how you said that. So you went to Blues games, and what was it about watching the pro game? Because one of the things we talk about on the show a lot is watch a player that plays your position and follow them for a period or even an entire game. So what was it about going to Blues games that really kind of made you get into it maybe the second time around? What was that?
Yeah, so I'll start off by saying that I went to Clayton for elementary school, and soccer was the sport to play. Everyone loved soccer, but for me, I absolutely hated it. And no hate to all the soccer fans out there, but for me, it was pretty slow paced. Couldn't really tell what was going on. And then I start going to hockey games, and it's super fast paced. Everyone's moving. Everyone seems to know what they're doing, moving the puck, hitting people. It's physical. And I loved it. And I decided I want to try that out.
So you like the physical part of the game?
Of course.
Love it. So I have to imagine that ACHA hockey with 18-plus-year-old players out there can get physical from time to time, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And how old would you say some of the players that you're playing against are? Do you age out of ACHA hockey when you get to a certain year? How long are you able to play?
I don't believe so. I think you have 4 or maybe 5 years of eligibility because I know grad students are able to play. There was a 25-year-old on my team this year that came from playing NCAA D3, and we played Loyola Chicago, and they had someone on their team with a family, a wife and kids. So it's a very wide age range.
I remember when I was in school and being out there, and I swear to God, there was like 10 guys with beards, mortgages, and 3 kids.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So cool. But what a great experience. I mean, so I love how you talk about like, hey, I'm going to give this a try again. I'm going to go back. And it was tied to the local hockey team, the Blues. And I think a lot of kids get that, especially those kids that saw the Blues win the Stanley Cup. You were a little bit before that time as far as like that being an impact. But like, were there kids in your elementary school? Were there other kids besides the Rockets that you were able to you were friends with that maybe were playing, a little bit sooner than you were? And what are some things that, if you could go back and tell that 12-year-old Blake, hey, this isn't as important, or do this, what would those things be?
So on the first point, I would say I was one of the first to start playing hockey at my school. I think before me, there was one other guy, and he grew up playing AAA. So we weren't the closest of friends. I didn't talk to him a lot about hockey, but yeah, after me, maybe I started a trend because a lot of people started to play. And then on your second point, I would tell myself to just have fun with it. I feel like growing up, maybe around until high school, I was kind of like a scared player out there. I was always one of the better players for my level, but I was always kind of afraid to make a mistake. I didn't want my teammates to yell at me, my coach to yell at me. So I didn't want to try new things that I'd worked on at practice or in like at stick and pucks, So I would say, don't be scared to make mistakes. It's a game. It's supposed to be for fun. You should try your best to be the best player you can out there. Don't be scared to make a mistake.
And so when you were thinking about going to college and you were wrapping up your 18U season, was there ever a point where you said, boy, I just don't know what I'm going to do with hockey? Or did you get to Northwestern and find out information about the ACHA team? And then did that lead you to discussions? How did that work for you?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. So my senior year, I was playing on the SLU varsity team and then 18UAA for Rockets with my friends. A few months into the season for SLU, in the J Cup game, actually, I got a concussion. And this was I've had a few concussions I'd won the year before. So after that, I took a long break from hockey, a few months. Even after I was cleared, I was hesitant about playing. I ended up finishing up the season with my AA team, and we won the Blue Note Cup. And I went into that game really, thinking that would be my last ever game of hockey, that would be my last time lacing up, playing. And I had such a great time in that game. We won, a great memory. And then a few weeks later, after I had pretty much said, I don't know if I'm going to play hockey, an Instagram notification popped up, and it was from the Northwestern team. I'd followed them a while back after I knew I got in. And it turns out they were playing at Maryville that night for playoffs. So I was like, you know what? Okay, I'll go check out the game. I'll go see what's up. I went to the game. All the guys were having a great time out there. Skill level wasn't super crazy. And I was like, okay, maybe I could do this. So I started thinking about it over the summer. I texted the coach, and we were exchanging a few texts, talked to some guys on the team, and I still wasn't really decided. So I left on September 9th, and the morning of the day were we leaving, I was like, you know what, I'll bring my hockey stuff up. I'll see if I want to skate. I still hadn't decided, but, I decided to bring it up. Went to a skate that week during my welcome week, and I loved it. The guys were super welcoming and great. They asked questions about me. They wanted to know about me. I felt like they wanted me to be a part of the team. And then meeting the coach, I got the same vibe also. So I was just like, yeah, I'm going to try it out, and made the right decision for sure.
I mean, they obviously wanted a guy who was a, great skating defenseman.
I don't know about great. I don't know about great.
Well, hey, I could tell you, you're an excellent skater. Talk a little bit about, the lead up, through the years here, because you make that jump to A1, I think your Bantam year. And then you stick with it through midget, and you start to go to one of the best hockey high schools in SLU, where you're competing with and practicing with some of the best talent in the area, if not only the area, but the region. Walk us through how you navigate that, and what did you use? How did that shape you and help you grow and develop even more?
Yeah. So my Bantam A1 year with Coach Meek, obviously Brendan was on that team. Great year. We were pretty good for a team. We won the Blue Note Cup. Throughout the year, my coach, Coach Meek, he was reaching out to Coach Walters at SLU, and he was wanting to know more about me, wanting to get me to play. So he put in a good word. And over the summer, I was actually invited to play in the varsity summer league for SLU, which for SLU, we put out a lot of borderline guys, JV level guys compared to varsity guys from Vianney, Kirkwood, Chaminade, etc. And going out there, I was like, okay, I'm screwed. I can never play varsity at this school because, playing against junior, senior guys that play varsity at Chaminade, very intimidating for 8th grade me going into my high school year. So yeah, my freshman year, I didn't think I would ever make varsity. I played on the JV team. And then in March, we won the state championship for SLU. I was at that game. I saw how much fun it was, how we had thousands of people there. And that's when I really started to be like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to be on this team. I want to be in this situation. So that really started up I need to start doing more lessons, start practicing harder, go to more stick and pucks, because I wanted to get there.
So awesome snippet of an interview with Blake. And again, I recommend, if you didn't get a chance to catch it the first time around, go back onto our Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts, look up the Blake Dorn interview. And if you really want to make it easy on yourself, just go to our YouTube channel and type in Blake Dorn. It'll pop right up there, and you can like and subscribe. It won't hurt your finger, I promise. Well, we have this great connection with USA Hockey that we've built over the year, and we get a chance to meet with and talk with different directors and coaches that are USA Hockey employees, all thanks to our buddy Bob Mancini, who we highlighted last week in the best of part one. We had the opportunity to talk to a two-time U.S. men's Olympic hockey player and former NHL player. He was also the coach of our sled team in 2018 that just happened to win the gold medal.
No big deal.
Not a big deal. And with this year, with the Olympics and USA taking home the gold in men's, women's, and sled hockey, I just thought it was so awesome. We had a chance to talk with Guy Goose Gosling.
I mean, every time we talk about Goose, I mean, my first thought is Top Gun.
Yeah.
And then right behind it is, this also was the episode where we had the return of the ghost. Grant, he disappeared with us for a while. He was on assignment for a few weeks, and suddenly he was back in the fray. So this is when not only did we have Goose and potentially Maverick to talk about, but we also had producer Grant back to join us.
Yeah, and if you get a chance, go back and listen to this full episode, because it is full on. Like, we didn't miss a beat from our last show with Grant, which was back in February, to now he's back, and we couldn't be happier as a fixture on our show. And again, being able to talk to a two-time Olympic gold medal, or two-time Olympic USA men's hockey player, who's also a phenomenal coach. And I don't know if it's going to be in the clip, but go back, if you're a coach, definitely to our website and look up the Rhythm of the Goose drill, because we started talking music, and we started talking rhythm, and
it sounds like a Duran Duran song, but the Rhythm of the Goose. Check out the drill on our website. If you're a coach out there, give it a listen. Here's Goose.
Hey, Goose, what's going on?
Just hanging out. Thanks for having me.
Now, if we were on Spittin' Chicklets, we would start off with some campfire stories, because this guy has played with some guys: Mike Richter, Brian Leach, Big Walt, Keith Kachuk, back when you had to be an amateur to play in the Olympics. And
so the Rangers were my NHL 93 Sega team. They had Leach, they had Messier, they had Adam Graves. What a loaded team. Brian Leach, that's outstanding.
Yeah.
Congrats.
So, before we get started on our topics, we got to hear, you were in Calgary in France, right? Albertville, France. What was that experience like, especially now that we've got, we're the best hockey country in the world right now? And that's not me talking. That's the gold medals that we've won here over the past, But what was that experience like? That's something that, being a lifelong hockey player, fan, and coach, I can only dream about. So share a little bit of that.
Well, I've spent 30 years trying to figure out that answer. It was unreal. It's you put that USA jersey on, and it's a special feeling. So, 88 Calgary, I was still pretty young yet, and it was all new to me. We didn't finish like we wanted to, but we had some players on that team. You talked about Brian Leach. We're partners, and he was a heck of a hockey player. He just wanted me to give him the puck, and he could go.
Right.
And he did a good job.
Go ahead, sir. Absolutely. Can I get another assist?
Yeah, exactly. So, Albertville, France was something that, up in the mountains in a foreign country, something that you dream about when you're a kid, and that was a great experience for me. Our team played very well. We had 2 chances to medal. We didn't. We ended up in 4th place, but it was a great experience. Really enjoyed it.
I just can't imagine just that experience and how you just take that, you leapfrog to success, on the professional hockey level, and then, giving back to USA Hockey. And we're so humble and grateful that you're able to join us tonight to talk about, some topics that we think will hit home with the players and coaches and parents that we're trying to speak to. But that roster, Craig Janney, former Blues,
Blue, yeah.
So like just some players, and and they had Goose Gosling, who was just feeding apples to Brian Leach, which is all I'd be doing.
Yeah.
Well, Goose,
I love the energy, guys. You guys are bringing it.
Goose, we're at the end of the youth hockey season, so I think this is a great time to reflect and think about player development from looking back, looking at player development from looking forward. And so let's dive into, when you look back on a youth hockey season, what would you say coaches and organizations should do to define success, beyond just the wins and losses. And then how do you communicate that? You know, because I'm sure you probably run into, and many coaches run into, parents have a certain expectation and they're defining success in a way. But then you as a coach have an opportunity to provide a different perspective, like hockey perspective, the coach's perspective. So what's that look like?
Well, I guess it's different at various age groups. You know, you really need to focus on, did we get better as players? Not just the wins and losses. Development happens in practice for the most part. And you need to look at, if your players got better, did they learn from our practices? Did I run great practices with constraints, teaching our kids what we'd like to teach them to do? Sometimes that's hard, but like I say, it looks different at various levels. But, you know, did I have my players moving, especially with the young kids? Are they actively skating and playing hockey, or are they waiting in line? And we want to get our kids active out there. It changes a little bit later on. You know, people talk about work to rest ratios and how intense the drill is, etc. But reflection is really a good thing, and it looks differently at all age groups. You know, did we build a positive culture? Everybody talks about culture today within our group. Did we teach our kids how to be good teammates, to be happy for successes of other teammates? It kind of sounds corny, but the culture thing is really important. A lot of people talk about it, but you actually have to do it.
You know, you said something there that I kind of picked up on when you talk about practices. And that's where I think as a coach, you have to really look at yourself critically, and almost what I've learned, and, you know, some of this is from falling down and making mistakes, is you got to almost evaluate yourself first as a coach before you can offer that feedback to the kids. But talking about that communication, and let's say we're talking to a Pee-wee major team that's going to be going on to their first year in Bantam, when hockey really takes that big step. You know, what is that effective, whether it's an effective format or an effective template of communication, what does that look like? Is it written? Is it verbal? I mean, is it a combination? What have you found is very successful, especially when you're looking at that, 12, 13, 14-year-old age group?
Well, I think that first off, you have to have some empathy for these kids. We as coaches can give the kids as much confidence as they need or take it away. So you need to create this positive learning environment and interaction with the kids. Make it fun. That's the key. Give them a sense of belonging, and utilize everybody. They sign up for hockey to play hockey, if that makes sense. And so they need to be a part of something. We need to have a common goal together, and we need to discuss that with the kids. And again, make it fun. And I know that sounds corny to the tough guy out there, but that's the key. And then they're going to be engaged and they're going to be learning.
Yeah, I mean, Bob Mancini's been a preacher of making hockey fun, and starting there before you take additional steps. I'm just curious, what's your perspective on being at the end of the season? Because, these families, these players have spent 8 months together. Is there a right amount of games for players at youth hockey to be playing? And it's probably the different answer, I would imagine, for different ages.
Oh, absolutely.
But there are teams that are out there that and I'll say with my firstborn son, we would play as many games as we possibly could. My perspective's changed on that. So how do you feel about that at the end of the season, looking back on, knowing you're spending 8 months together, what is the right amount of games to be playing at some different ages here?
Well, just like you said, it looks different at each level. But we really feel like development time happens in practice. Just talking about how many reps you get. The activity time is where the kids figure it out, and that's when they're learning. There is a balance to all of this stuff. And, the teams that practice once a week and go play 5 on the weekends the other kids will eventually catch up. I can promise you that. We need to work on physical literacy, the way kids move through, around on the ice. And we want to develop resilient, confident hockey players. And that's the way you do that, through practice. And practice can be fun. We don't want to turn it into a job. And so there's a balance there for the games and practice time.
It's interesting when you talk about resiliency and physical competency. It's I almost think, at least here in Missouri hockey, we play, in our C through A levels, they play a regular season where they're sometimes playing teams 2 or 3 times a year. And ice is a commodity that I think most organizations across the country, that's their most precious commodity. But what if, this is crazy, but what if we played, instead of playing a team 3 times, you play them 2 times, and you practice an extra skate each week, but then the playoffs, instead of being 1 and done, you have 2 and done, and maybe backload these seasons with the games and front load the seasons with practices. And to your point, evaluate our coaches at the end of the year and help them get better at practices.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I managed a rink for 14 years. Scheduling and curriculum have a big part in this, with how we have the kids practice to game ratio, etc. It's super important. And again, the puck touches you get are they learning in the development that's going on. So, somebody did a study years ago on some of the best players in the world, and they only had the puck on their stick for approximately a little bit over a minute, right? So if you can get out there and get these kids active for 20 or 30 minutes, skating, touching the puck, getting those reps in, they're going to be learning. That's a learning environment for our children.
Yeah. So what do you think, being at the end of the season now, headed into the off season, what are things that are important to reflect on as a player, and then also as a coach, I would say, and carry into the next year? So as a player, how do you help the player understand where they are, where they performed well, where they can grow, and continue to develop and take that motivation into the next season?
Well, it's got to be constructive, absolutely. And it varies, but you as a coach, when you have that meeting, is your player going to know what he did well? Is he going to know what he needs to work on for next year? Does he believe he can improve? Does he want to come back and play ice hockey? That motivates, right? I mean, that's what you want him to do, and that's what you want him to feel. And that's a reflection.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm hearing you say is almost the first question is, did you have fun this year, and do you want to come back next year?
Absolutely. And if they want to come back next year and they had fun, you've done your job.
Right. And then you can offer that constructive.
Absolutely.
Here's what I think you did well. Here's where I think you can grow. But I like that. I like how you pitched that of, How did the season go for you? Did you have fun, and do you want to come back?
And I mean, it's and we can slice and dice it however, but it's not rocket science. If you have a motivated individual, they're going to excel in the game.
Real quick before we jump back in, if you're enjoying Too Many Men on the Mic, hit like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. It's a quick click for you, but it helps us grow the show and keep bringing you great hockey conversations. You can also follow us on Instagram by scanning the QR code on your screen. And be sure to download, follow, and rate the podcast on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeartMusic, or wherever you get your podcasts. Or you can go directly to our website, www.tooManyMenOnTheMic.com. That's the number 2. Those small things from you help us keep delivering new guests, downloadable coaching content, and more from the rink. All right, back to the show. St. Louis hockey families and business leaders, if you need custom gear that stands out and stands for something, it's time to meet 5B Designs. Founded by Shannon Brahini, a proud St. Louis mom and entrepreneur, 5B Designs is a woman-owned small business that brings purpose to custom apparel. Whether you're suiting up your youth or high school hockey team or leveling up your company's branded swag, 5B delivers top-notch quality with a personal touch. Need team stores? Not a problem. Corporate polos or event giveaways? They've got you covered. 5B makes it easy with fast turnaround, flexible service, and designs your players or employees will love to wear. Check them out at stores.inksoft.com/5B Designs. That's the word 5. And if you are watching on our YouTube feed, go ahead and scan the QR code on the top right-hand corner of the screen and see what great gear and great service looks like.
Well, that was a fantastic episode, one that I will not forget. This one is also a fantastic episode because we really brought in the kids and we got to hear about the backside from a kid's perspective and also a coach's perspective of winning it all. If you're a youth hockey association, you probably play in a league where you, at the end of the season, have an opportunity perhaps to play for a championship. In this case, we were with the Twin Bridges organization and coaches DJ Schwab and also Kyle Gehrig, who were featuring their winning Blue Note Cup Twin Bridges organization. And I don't want to give it away here, but the kids are certainly a feature item on this interview.
There are very few shows where we don't get a chance to get a word in. And this is one of those. So if you don't want to hear me or Drew, this is a great show to go back and take a look at. But yeah, this team, the Twin Bridges 10UB1 team, won the Blue Note Cup for the 25-26 season here in St. Louis. There were some funny stories, some things from the locker room that were hilarious. A kid going out with the smoke and the disco lights for the pregame. I think there was an impression or two of their coaches, which was hilarious. But the root of all this is what you said. This is why we have this podcast. It's for moments like this where you have, 9 and 10-year-olds talking about playing hockey and winning the championship. And, I thought the funniest thing about this was most of their stories were about things that happened off the ice.
They were.
And if you've ever, obviously if you're listening to this, you're probably, related to youth hockey in some way. This is what it's all about. And I hope it brings a smile to your face. So here is the Twin Bridges Lightning 10U B1 Blue Note Cup championship team. Have a listen. Ask, the coaches and the players to share with our listeners what goes in to having a very successful youth hockey team. Hey, what's going on?
How's it going?
They looked very relaxed. They're still they've got they're still basking in the afterglow of their win.
So who's got the cup right now? Where's the Blue Note Cup right now?
Believe it or not, it's in my truck, and it's in one of the other Cooper's dad's supposed to get it from me in the morning, so they're going to pass it around every couple weeks, I guess. So
it's the best.
We're starting that tomorrow morning.
Nice. So I got to ask, you got the cup, you got the symbolic physical piece to represent the win. I have to imagine with all these kids on, who's going to eat cereal out of this cup first? Ava, is that what kind of cereal are you going to eat out of the cup, and what's your go-to cereal that you're going to eat out of the cup, or are you going to do something else with it?
Ava, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Oh, shoot.
Well, Cooper, why don't you tell us? Tell us a little bit about what you're going to do with that cup. Is this the first time you've been on a team that's won the Blue Note Cup?
Yes.
What are you going to do when you get the cup?
Drink a milkshake out of it.
There you go.
What's your go-to milkshake? We talking Five Guys? We talking, Dairy Queen? We talking McDonald's? Where are you going?
Homemade.
What?
Homemade.
Homemade milkshake?
Homemade. Nice.
Sounds good.
Rowan, you've got your gaming headset on, it looks like.
Yeah.
I just imagine maybe you're going to be playing some games with your buddies, and you're just going to have it maybe in your screen next to you, so your buddies, every time you guys are playing each other, can look at you and then look at the cup right next to you, or you got something else in mind? What are you thinking?
I don't really know. Like,
haven't had any time to think about it.
the second we got it, I was gonna say, are we gonna all drink soda out of it?
Did you?
No, we didn't get to. They wouldn't let us.
Well, they're not going to be around when you say the officials, when they handed you the cup. Yeah. You do it at the party afterwards. So I can see him though. He'll just have it over his shoulder, and he'll look at his buddies. Oh, you don't have one of those? Cannon, what about you? You and your dad, this your guys' first cup?
Yeah. My parents won't let me eat any other cereal but plain Cheerios.
Plain Cheerios? Hey, it's good for your heart, man.
That wasn't the question.
So I would eat cereal out of it.
You can eat whatever cereal you want out of the cup.
Okay.
Count Chocula?
Lucky Charms.
Lucky Charms. It's magical. So Ava, what about you? When you get that cup, what are you gonna do with it?
Daves, can you hear us?
Can you hear us, Ava? You can just
Ava,
go ahead
what are
and
you gonna
talk.
do when you get the
Yeah,
cup?
we'll move.
It cut
There you
out
go.
at first, so I couldn't hear what it was saying. I couldn't hear what you guys were saying at first because it was cutting out.
Well, what are you gonna do when you get the cup? We'll take it. We'll come back to it. We'll coach.
What about the coaches? What are the coaches going to do with their day with the cup?
Beer.
Week with the cup?
Drink beer. Obviously.
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 I'm going to eat some spaghetti out of it.
Ooh, that's a good one.
There you go.
It's better than clam chowder. I've heard some. I've seen some weird.
the cup.
New England?
So,
I just-
so Coach Schwab, talk a little bit about this season. As you put this as this
Lucky
team.
Charms?
Lucky Charms? Hey, what are you gonna do? Some Lucky Charms? All right, that's good. Well, Coach, talk a little bit about as the season came into focus with you all. You're getting through September and October and deck season. You see this team. Talk a little bit about what made this group of kids special. How were they to coach? When did you get this? They were going to be good.
I think from the get-go, when they did the tryouts and stuff, the team above had a lot of really good players, and I felt like they had a good pool to choose from, and that left us with a good group too. And so whenever the season started getting underway, this is my first year head coaching. I relied on the other coaches who knew some of these kids a little better than me. I didn't pick the team. It was handed to me.
Sure.
And I talked to all the coaches. We're all very humble. I feel like I listen to everyone's opinion, and we looked at the team and said, hey, we got some really good skaters, and most of them are on defense. And so we went with that. And then we said that, on the bottom side, we needed to increase our skating ability. And so a lot of our practices revolved around almost 20 to 30 minutes of just edge work, especially in the beginning of the year. And then we focused on using the points a lot and moving the puck around the perimeter. We did that a lot, and it just slowly kind of evolved into just a very good little system. And we focused on a lot of skills. We had half ice practices, so it's not like I could teach a crazy amount of breakouts or any kind of regroup. I think we tried a cycle one time, and that was a disaster. So I gave up on any kind of system work and just kind of worked on keeping the puck out and around the perimeter, and it seemed to work well.
That's great stuff to do at 10U. So, Coach Schwab, you said it was your first year coaching this year.
Mm-hmm.
Were you an assistant coach before?
Yeah, I always helped out on 8U and 6U with my kids' team, and then this year was the first year they handed me the reins.
So Rowan, if you had to pick, what's Coach Schwab's style? What's a word would you say is Coach Schwab's style when he's out there coaching you on the ice?
I'd say he's way nicer than my dad. By a lot. By a very much a lot.
Who's also an assistant coach. Who was head coach last year.
Was I nice to my son, though, Rowan?
No.
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 You didn't even invite him on the show here.
Oh, no.
Yes.
We don't want that.
Well, and you talked about half ice practices a lot. That's great. We had your coaching director, Tyler, on our show a couple months ago. And does he come out to any of your practices throughout the season and help out and share some words of wisdom?
We have some elite. He does elite with us sometimes. So he comes out a lot of times for those.
So that's like a special practice that his hockey school runs, and they do all the drills and everything just to give the kids a break from us coaches.
It's pretty nice. Yeah.
So, Coach Kyle, when you're looking back at this season, and it sounds like you've had some experience with a lot of these kids. What surprised you the most? Whether it was from the team or individual players, or just what surprised you the most? Being around these kids.
I mean, just their compete level was honestly amazing to me. We were not, we asked a lot of them in practice, and we pushed them hard, like further than you normally push 10-year-olds, I would say. But the only reason we did that is because they kept responding every time we did it. So we're like, okay, let's keep doing this. Let's keep going more. And honestly, like, I would say for me, I didn't know what we had going into the season. I knew some of the kids, and I knew we'd be pretty good. But we got into the very first tournament, probably right after deck season, and we played up against mostly A teams, A2, A3 teams, and we won the whole thing. And I think that's when I looked at the coaches, and I'm like, okay. So let's go. So that was we realized it right off the bat, I think. But they just continued raising their level all season long.
It sounds like you've had some players that maybe started at one position and then maybe moved positions as the season went along. Talk a little bit about that. Did the kids come in? I know you have a 10U team, so you're playing full ice for the first time. Did kids have an idea of what kind of position they wanted to play, or did you just kind of look at the kids as you started off and say, okay, based on what I see, I think you're going to be most successful as a defenseman or a forward? How did that work?
We tried a couple different things. Like, I wanted Rowan to play D, but he doesn't really care for it. So I wanted him to,
even though he's really good at it.
He was really good at it. But if the kids aren't having fun, then what's the point here? So if they didn't want to do it, I tried another kid, Brady, at defense, and he came to me after like a game, was like, I don't want to do this. And so I actually asked Ava, who was a forward, and she moved to D, and she was absolutely incredible. She locked it down. It was a fun season to watch her play and develop. She grew a lot.
Well, I've heard you say fun now twice, and I'd love to hear, Cooper, what do the coaches do? What does Coach Swab and the other coaches do to make practice fun for you?
A lot of times we do like 2-on-2 and like activate the third person, or like a lot of times we did this drill called the sunglasses, where we have two people in the corners, and then like we have two lines in the corners, and then we have a line of defense, and then you have a defense along the boards and then one out in the middle, and then the forwards pass it up to the defense on the boards, and then they pass it over to the defense in the middle, and then they shoot, and then the forwards tries to deflect it in.
Love it. Rowan, what about you? What do coaches do? What do your coaches do to make practice fun for you?
Like most of the times, like whenever we were like getting really angry at them for pushing us, they like swapped the drill to make it like better.
Yeah. What's your favorite?
Probably the drill where like it's a shootout, but like there's one side and then they shoot, and if they miss, then if you miss, you have to like do sideboards, and then the other team goes, and if they make it, then the other team has to do sideboards.
How many times were you missing, Rowan?
A lot. I'm not great at shootouts.
Cannon, Cannon, tell me a little bit about, you're a forward. Tell me a little bit about the thing that you were at this season after you got to a certain point where you're like, hey, we can be really, really good. We may go pretty far. When did you realize that as a player?
After we won that first tournament, I just thought a lot of us had chemistry, and we were like really good at passing and talking on the ice.
Talking on the ice. That's like I coach high school, and there's some high schoolers I can't get to say a word out there. So you guys as 10Us are out there communicating with each other. Imagine what you're going to be like when you're playing high school and midget hockey. That's just so exciting. Mm-hmm. Ava, you've been a little quiet there. Now, somebody who went back and just locked it down on defense, what was your favorite thing about playing defense? What did you like to do the most?
Probably like pushing them to the boards.
Yeah. Throwing the body around.
Love it. At 10U you can't check, but you get a little physical. Do you sometimes get in the corners there and maybe
I still do it a lot.
Kind of a little bit of a face wash.
Do it all the time.
Ava got 2 penalties all year, I think, in like the last 4 games. I challenged her to actually take a penalty earlier in the year. I wanted her to be more aggressive, and so I wanted to see her take a penalty. And it took her a little bit, but she got after it. So
that was like crazy.
When she got a standing O from us, we were clapping, and the other team's like, "What are they clapping about?" And we told them, and they started clapping. It was great.
Well, talk a little bit about some of those things that you did. You talked about going to a tournament. When you're playing youth hockey, some of the best memories are at the hotels or at the restaurants when you get together with the team. Cooper, tell us a little bit about some of the favorite things that you did when you guys were on the road traveling this year.
Probably knee hockey.
Knee hockey. Excellent. Did you guys get in trouble from, because some hotels, they're not all big on shinny. They may be
times.
Who was staying up past curfew, by the way?
Connor. Definitely Liam playing NHL.
Yeah. Oh, you guys are Chell?
Yeah, he brings his PlayStation everywhere he goes.
We're taking this to another level. Then, Cannon, if you're making yourself in Chell, tell us a little bit about what's going to be your number one skill set, man. What's going to be your
probably checking people. I would probably put my fight mode on often, and then probably speed and shot.
We're going to have to introduce you to our buddy Cam Jansen. I think he'd talk about that. Rowan, what about you?
Rowan, you're on mute. There you go.
I know. I tried to get it off. Oh God.
Coach, it's the off season, buddy. I'll get there.
He's like, pipe down, coach. I got this.
I really don't know. I have zero clue.
Zero clue?
Yeah.
You're pretty physical too, Ro.
Oh yeah, I punched a kid in the face one time.
Yeah.
Our goalie.
Yeah.
We don't want to celebrate that, but I can see it.
Yeah. More like in the
Ava strikes me as like an 85+ skater. How's your skating ability, Ava? No.
I don't think I saw her fall down one time all year in a game, and that's a lot for a B1 team. I mean, she was always on her feet, always present. She won't come out and say it, but she was definitely very talented skater.
He's humble.
So what's an ism of the coaches? So Cooper, when you're what's one ism that your coaches say? So maybe it's a phrase they say frequently. One of the things we sometimes say is net front. Do your coaches have an ism that they say frequently when you're out on the ice?
Yeah, play hard, fast, and strong.
Oh yeah.
I like that.
Cannon, I saw you with your hand up. What do you think?
DJ always says win the period during the break of periods.
Excellent.
Ava, how about you? Is there an ism that sticks with you?
Back door to like the forwards, like if there's someone behind the net to like cover the back door.
Okay.
Cover back door.
Cover the back door. Okay. Cooper, you got another one?
Coach Chad Rowan's dad always says, win the shift.
Yep, absolutely. We've got a bunch here too. Like if you lose a battle, start a battle, and you can't spell goal without net front. Look it up.
Rowan, you got one?
Wheels. Does wheels count?
What? Dad always says that. Like he's obsessed.
I would always yell that
from
the door when I
Jet.
thought they had a lane from the defense.
Mostly Jet.
Mostly Jet. Well, let's talk. Let's see what your coaches think about your team here. So we're gonna ask the player. We've been talking to the players here, but let's talk to the coaches. So who's the kid that forgets their gear?
Probably my kid, Clayton.
What? I've never forgotten a thing.
You forgot. You had to wear Rowan's little brother's shorts one time at a tournament.
That was last year.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Oh, they
yeah, Cannon, Clayton.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Coach Kyle, who's the biggest clown on the team? Who's the guy? Who's the kid that whenever you get to the rink and you can't help but smile and laugh even though you want to be mad?
Connor's definitely the class the team clown of always cracking up and messing around.
Now, I've got a story about Connor.
Let's hear it.
So Connor is second to none, probably the most hockey smart player we had probably in 10U. I mean, the kid just positionally, his body position is just incredible. His skating is great. Now imagine we're going into the Blue Note Cup championship game. They got the lights down and they got the fake smoke going, and we're all busting through the opening of the smoke, and Connor has one skate guard on his skate. So we're supposed to come out and look like super tough, and one of our best skaters just fights it. It's on the ice, and I'm just like,
I remember that.
He kept looking at his skate like, what is wrong with my blades?
He didn't look at
So
it. He wouldn't notice.
we didn't look too tough coming onto the ice during the championship. So
kind of lighten the mood though.
Yeah.
Well, once you get past the intro, if you fall in the intro, it can only get better, right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's what we told him. After all this lights and all for the fans, that's all for them. It's still now it's just a hockey game, just like you guys have done all season.
Well, when you got into the playoffs, I mean, through the regular season, you guys, there's a term in hockey. It's called wagon. You guys were a wagon, which is awesome to see. But you get to the playoffs and you got a little tighter. In fact, you had some tight games. You had some tough games.
We almost lost to Kirkwood. It was like 20 seconds.
Tell me about that, Cannon. How do you almost lose to Kirkwood?
There was like, I think we were down like 2-0 with like a minute and 30 left. I don't know who scored. I think it was maybe Liam. Liam scored like 60 goals this year. And then Jet, like what?
Go ahead, DJ.
It was 1-0, right?
Yeah, it was 1-0.
Yeah,
1-0 in the third. We had 40 seconds left in the game.
And then
I tried to pull the goalie earlier, and then I had to send him back because the play was coming out of the zone, so it was delayed. And then I kind of forgot to get him back off, and it just so happened I put a kid on the ice right whenever I finally realized that we didn't have our goalie pulled, and he basically collided with another kid and the puck shot out. It was like the perfect timing with 40 seconds left. Wow. And Jet skated in and tied it. And that's the same team I believe we beat 14-1 like 2 weeks prior.
I was just going to say that. I'm sitting here looking at your season, and 2 weeks prior you beat them 14-1.
Swedish Fish.
Well, if that doesn't bring a smile to your face, then you need to go back and listen to the whole episode, and then you'll get a good laugh. But what a great group of kids. Hats off to Coach Dave, DJ Schwab, and Coach Kyle Gehrig, and the rest of that entire organization. If they're putting a team like that on the ice, it only says great things about the organization. And really, that it's all about the fun. And we're coming off of a recent interview a couple weeks ago with Dr. Adam Gledel, and he was talking about how fun is really the cornerstone for keeping kids involved in sports through all levels, whether it's beginner, intermediate, or elite. And he talked about a study done with the Swedish Youth Hockey Association. Well, this next episode, we're going to talk some things Swedish, but it sure is not about the Swedish. So, little backstory here. Drew and I, when we started this podcast, we decided, hey, one of the things that probably is going to give us great ideas and great direction is getting a bunch of novice coaches together, but also, and probably more importantly, hockey moms. And so hockey moms have always been a cornerstone of this podcast as we have gone through this journey. And so it's only fitting that I think it was our highest rated episode. Is that a thing? Highest rated episode was where we had some hockey moms from the Afton 18U Central States team. We just happened to spotlight the coach of that team last week, and it's no coincidence that the team had a very successful year because they have a great coach, but really because that team is a family and they have great parents and great families that are the glue. And it wasn't just the Swedish Fish, although you'll get that when you listen to when you watch or listen to the episode. But I mean, the highest rated episode of the year is no coincidence that it's the hockey moms.
Moms win.
Moms win all the time. So listen to your mother. She knows what's best for you, whether it's getting hard in on the forecheck or cleaning your room. But this was a great episode. We had an awesome time talking with these unbelievable, I would say, kind of like hockey player like razors. I mean,
hockey whispers.
So have a listen. We'll be right back after this. And again, this is definitely an episode that you're going to want to go back and listen to the full episode. So here's the hockey moms, and you'll understand what we mean by the Swedish Fish.
So I've got to ask, being on the backside of this and living through this and having such a tight group of people, what advice would you give to a younger hockey parent? So think of you 15 years ago, and you're coming to the ice rink and you're thinking about tying my kids' skates, or if I know how to get my kids dressed. What are the things that matter and what are the things that don't matter?
I think have fun. I think we lose sight of that we get so caught up in the competitiveness and wanting to win that sometimes you lose that focus, and it goes by so fast. Like you're in the middle of season and then all of a sudden it's over, and it's over forever. Like, so, and you look back and it's like, wow, where did it go? So I think have fun. Don't sweat the small stuff.
If it won't matter in 5 years, then it's not something to worry about.
No. And you know what?
Write that one down. That's another one.
Right. I mean, Colin started on a C team, when he was 6 or 7 years old. Yeah, I mean, it's the fact that at 8 or 9, they're putting so much pressure for their kid to be a AA kid, it's just ridiculous. I mean, these kids aren't going to develop until they're, 13, 14, 15. So just enjoy the ride. Just have fun. Watch your kid fall down. Watch him, we had one kid I remember on the team, all the kids would be at one end, he'd be down the other end by himself doing circles. Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
If you're more stressed out than your kid is on the ice, then I feel like you probably need to check yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I know we've heard those things like probably some on TikTok or Instagram, like don't rip into your kid on the way home from a game on how they played, and to Catherine's point, and I think I do feel like my son led this charge in our family, is he really wanted to play with his friends. And he drove that. We've talked many times about, do you want to try out for AAA? Would you want to play juniors? And he's like, I want to play with my friends. Now, whether he would have made those teams, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that, his choice was, I want to play with Dewey and Colin and, DJ and Max and Kit. I want to play with these kids that I love. Because it's about competitiveness, balancing out fun. He wanted to play on a competitive enough team, but he also wanted to have fun. And you see that fun on the ice and you see it off the ice.
Yes.
You see these kids, these lines, when they put together the lines and they score and they connect passes, and it's like they feel each other, and then you see them in the hotel lobby and they're like so happy to be with each other, and it's not a click here and a click there. It's like you see them interacting with everyone on the team, and that's what made this team super special this year.
I won't say the name, but I remember there was a player who was struggling to score a goal for a number of games, and then when he finally did, just the bench just exploded, and the parents, everyone did. It was just fantastic. And Colin said the same thing. He wants to play at the highest level he can, but still have fun. He didn't want to go the too serious of a route, because at the end of the day, you're all you're going to have are the memories of playing this. They're not going to go into the NHL. Let's be realistic. So it was just, hey, this is what I want to do, and I want to do it with my friends.
The knowledge and wisdom drops right now are kind of off the charts for the hockey moms.
We're not just pretty faces, Jared.
Wow. Well, let's get a little, let's, if I had my tie on or a collar, I'd unbutton the collar right about now, because I think it's time to ask a few questions about, let's talk about some funny stories. Let's talk about some things that, and not just this past year, although there are some great stories from this past year, but let's hear some funny stories that we can share that it could either be like, oh my gosh, this other team is crazy, and thank God we're not like that, or I'm crazy.
All the bad ones.
Let's hear it, Beth. It's like I see it about to happen. They're already giggling. We're gonna stop. I'll say it again. We're gonna shove them. Listen.
Okay. Well, we have so many memories.
We just have so much fun.
We do. We just have fun. I think this was 15U year. And I think we were at Notre Dame, and we play this stupid game in the lobby. It's called Happy Salmon. And we changed it up. It's supposed to be PG-13 hand signals and stuff like that. Well, we made them very adult-like. And we were in Notre Dame, and I'm sure you've seen the I didn't know this was a wrestling move because I don't know anything about wrestling, but you kind of do the crotch chop. I guess that's what it's called. And so that had become one of our little signature moves in playing Happy Salmon. And we were at Notre Dame, and one mom was on the other side of the rink, and she did it to us. So a couple of moms.
Yeah, we were playing.
One.
We were playing CompuWare.
Yes, CompuWare. Who just did a Michigan on us, and we ended up beating them. But prior to so the one mom did the crotch chop to us. We stood up in the stands and did it right back. And the refs were looking. They blew the whistle. They got together and were about to call a bench minor on us because they thought we were doing it.
They just tied. And we're like, oh no! Now
The ref looked up through the glass at us, and he did one of these.
Don't do it again.
No. And we thought, oh,
and we were like,
he's going to
oh
kill
my
us.
God.
We just got him a bench minor.
And we're like, we were doing that to you.
So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was one of our embarrassing moments, but also a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And then
We got to hear the Swedish
it
fish
happened.
story. We have, it happened.
We're not even sure how
it
it
happened.
All I know is I wasn't allowed to eat the Swedish fish because
I wasn't either.
No.
I'm not. I don't believe in superstitions. And then I became persona non grata. So let's hear this.
I think you asked me for some, and I said no. And
It's
then
only my-
after the
it's
game,
like
I
my
gave you
second
the rest of the
favorite-
bag.
it's like my
because I
second
won,
favorite
but I was like,
favorite.
no, you can't have any.
I think
I
it
got
started
myself- I
our
went
Philly
back
trip,
in-
not national, but our trip to Philly. For whatever reason, we were sitting very close to the glass, and we had a bag of Swedish fish, and we would score, and so we would stick it to the glass, and I think that's how it kind of started. And then it just turned into this crazy superstition where we had to put them on the glass prior to the game, and then all the moms just started doing strange stuff with them. One would rub her cheeks. I would tap. Lauren would huff.
She's freebasing. She's freebasing.
And then the best part of it is, since I'm a realtor, I was showing somebody a house and their kid happened to play hockey. And we were just kind of talking about silly things that we do as moms. And I started to mention the Swedish fish. And she's like, do you put them on the glass? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, we've seen those in the ring. So yeah, our Swedish fish have gone viral, I guess, at this point.
After moms have been here.
I love it.
Yeah.
I used to figure out how many goals I think we would score, and I'd put that money in my pocket.
And she was right.
Most of the
Oh,
time,
I
probably
like
95% of the time, I was right. Yeah, I'd be like, okay, 4.
Yep. So it was a
We
thing.
all
It was
had our
fun.
little things.
And how did that work out? Was it accurate?
It was. I would say 95% of the time it worked.
But we
Oh, I
also
love it.
had to not only have the Swedish fish, but like we had certain clothes
that we had to wear.
We had a certain
Seating
arrangement, and even like when our families came, like
couldn't sit
like
with us.
parents and grandparents of like my parents, other people, they knew that they weren't allowed to sit with us, and they'd be like, "So where are we allowed to sit?" And we're like, "Not here."
Yes. We even had bags that say you can't sit with us.
My sister-in-law,
real nice.
for the state championship game, she's like, "We're going to come to the game, but we won't talk to you. We won't." I'm like, "It's okay, you can talk, but no, you can't sit with us."
Oh,
but then we also had things like if things were not going well, it's like Catherine would say to me, "You need to stand up," because that was my thing. If things weren't going well, I'd stand up. So we were kind of bossy and telling
We were very bossy, but it was for the kids. It was for the kids.
Oh, I remember we lost the.
Oh, I know where this is going.
We lost the game against the game before the state championship game.
Yes. Yeah.
And Amanda looks right at me. She's like, "What happened? You're the pro. What the heck happened?" She's just like grilling me about this, and I'm like, "I don't know. Don't worry about it. I'll be back tomorrow."
Yes, we did.
So-
there were some things happening at that game that were out of the norm. People were sitting where they normally don't sit. There were people that showed up wearing the wrong thing.
Oh yeah, we
So
all
literally
identified what we did wrong.
Yes.
We
sent
sent
out a
out,
text
we
that
sent
said, this
out
is
a,
what you have to do.
we sent a message to the mom group me chat and said, okay, get your ish together. This like
you got to wear this
locked and loaded for the next game. But we need to focus.
Yeah.
Amanda used to say, was my right leg crossed over my left leg? Like I have my right leg.
And I have to have
my phone.
If I don't have my nails done, we lose. So I always have to have my nails, tip top shape.
Well, the show appreciates you getting your nails done for our successful show tonight.
Hey, it worked. The next game, we annihilated them.
And if Tracy wasn't there, she'd text us and say, you guys need to move.
I would, yeah.
Okay.
There was one time, because obviously with having another son play, I was with that son. And this team was, I don't know where you guys were, in Chicago or something. And I actually got a phone call from a mom saying, I don't know what to do. We're losing. Do I stay or do I leave?
Oh, because her son had a different race.
Yes. And I'm like, oh boy. And that was against TI, wasn't
I think you said stay.
I told her to stay. Yeah.
You need to stay till the end of the period.
Yeah. And then we tied it up. Yeah.
We know what we're doing, Jared.
I've seen it firsthand, and Kelly is like crazy. She won't believe when she hears this, but I've become a believer because I'm the most I'm the most non superstitious, which is weird for a hockey person, but I'm very much. But after
you're not a goalie.
Well, no. Well, that's a whole other. That's a whole other level. That's a whole other level. So, well, anything more? We've got.
No, I think these are fantastic stories. I
do our pyramids in the lobbies.
I love the bond that you have, and no doubt, I have to believe that this is just going to continue on, and I can't wait to hear what kind of forum it's in, or what kind of ism you put it in. Is it third Thursdays of the month? Is it?
We should all come out to the next 3 Men on the Mic gig.
Oh, there you go.
Because we did. I think Catherine was out at a gig with the 07 families.
Yeah.
That's a fun night, and there's usually adult beverages at these gigs.
There is.
So I'm sure they'll go along for Swedish Fish. Well, ladies, thank you also personally as a parent of a player on this team, and someone who had relationships with some of the kids I've coached some of those kids, but coming into a new team with only a couple folks from last year, I'll attest that the welcoming and the closeness and the relationships that I built with not just you all, but your husbands and the other moms and significant others is a testament to this group. And there's a reason why you're all together at this stage. And hopefully, folks who are listening, who are earlier on their hockey journey. And when I say that, not just as a player, but as a family, because it's a family journey. I mean, it's an expensive sport. It's a time consuming sport, and perspective is everything. It's not an investment, it's an experience. And you all have done such a wonderful job. I can't thank you enough personally. I know Kelly feels the same way, and she's in some of those crazy pictures and videos. So before we go, one last thing from each of you, just talk about the experience and what it means to you, like a heartfelt, one sentence. Let's start with Catherine.
What it means to you.
Thanks. Yeah.
Put Catherine on the spot.
Wow. It's a new family. It's like we've said earlier, you spend more time with your hockey family than you do your real family. And I'm still processing what it feels like to be on the other side of it. So I don't know. It's a journey, and hopefully a journey that doesn't end here.
Beth?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to call on you. You don't get to.
Well, I will say, I am so grateful for the 11, 12 years that we've given to youth hockey. I'm glad it was expensive. There were lots of sacrifices made, not just financially, but time-wise and family-driven. I feel like it has really made an impact on Aiden and our family, and I know it's been a process to grasp that it's over. Yeah, I hope these people will be in my life forever. Yeah. And the boys will be in Aiden's life forever. And someday we'll be in the stands watching them play beer league. After they all go on their merry little way and then come back together.
There you go. Tracy, what about you?
I would say yes. These women have become sisters to me. I think I made a joke to somebody today. I can't remember who, that Afton's going to come here one morning and open up the rink and they're going to find me in my sleeping bag in the stands because I'm just not ready to ever give it up. So yeah, it's hard to let it go.
And Amanda, you were the catalyst to get this episode going. It was great. I think her exact words were, "What do I have to do to get on your show?"
There may have been some alcohol involved in that.
I'm like, what about next week? But Amanda, what about you?
I mean, I'll echo what everybody else said. Like, I don't even remember what the original question was.
I'm glad.
What was the original question?
One sentence of what wrap up like what hockey's meant.
Oh yeah, it's not going to be one sentence, but family, and it's not just the people we met that have become our family. It truly is a family sport. It's a commitment that not just us parents have to make, but it's the siblings that make a commitment as well. You should do a sibling podcast next. I'm kidding. Yeah, like I mean, we are still friends with parents from the 6U level. We've been friends since then. And it's bizarre and crazy to me to think that because my little 4-year-old wanted to hop on some skates and he couldn't skate and was practicing and all that stuff, like it's crazy to think where we are now, all these years later, all the friendships that we've made along the way, all the friendships he has made along the way. He's grown as a person. He's made connections that he wouldn't have been able to make doing anything else. And it's weird that it's over. Like they said, I mean, he could drive himself to practice. I didn't have to go to practice. He drove himself pretty much everywhere, right? But now I like get home from work and I'm like, I don't have anything to pack for this weekend, or you know, I'm not washing my mom uniforms. Like I'm just like, what do I do? You know, it's very weird. It's still very new. I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself.
Yeah. I said I'm going to have to get a second job because if I don't get a job and I have to have to make money, I'm going to have to get a hobby that's going to cost me money. So
You guys need to come up with a hockey mom. You need to come up with a hockey mom app that is specific to hockey moms and can, take your experiences and help other hockey moms, and dads, along
we will adopt a hockey kid.
Oh, I've already said that. I've already said I'm gonna have to adopt somebody else's kid.
Yeah.
Or if I'm gonna be that creepy kid mom that shows up at the rink and they're gonna be like, "Who's that woman?"
Well, Drew and I both have freshmen in high school who are still playing.
Well,
so we'll talk off.
Don't be shocked if we show up.
So once again, an episode that we didn't really get any words in edgewise.
That's okay.
absolutely okay. But I mean, when you have folks like Amanda Rogers, Beth Hoshik, Tracy Brown, and Katherine Heisenrader on there, you know you're going to get not only nuggets of knowledge and life lessons, but hilarity as well. And one of the things that we hope that every team out there can have is it's an extension of your family. And I think when we've experienced this as coaches and parents and players, you sometimes spend more time with these folks than you do your family. And if you can't have fun and you can't have love for each other, I had a chance to, with this group, to experience it firsthand. Obviously, my wife is one of their hockey moms, and they still get together. My wife, Kelly, and I'm sure Lisa does this as well. She's still getting together with the moms from the teams that our kids were on. And that's something special. And you don't have that everywhere. And so you can't just win on the ice. You got to win off the ice. And, you know, Amanda, Beth,
is that a new ism?
Amanda, Beth, and Tracy and Catherine, you just put a new ism. You can't just win on the ice. You got to win off the ice too. There we go. All right, so it wouldn't be an episode if we didn't have an ism. I got a few, actually.
Now we have not talked about Detroit this entire episode, and
no. I talked about Dylan Larkin.
Yeah, you did talk about Dylan Larkin. So,
but I mean, he's not going to be a part of Detroit much longer.
So what's going to happen here?
Well, here's the thing. If Patrick Kane resigns, and apparently he's got an offer on the table, if he resigns, you'll have. I think they're going to start the season with Dylan Larkin. I really do. I don't think Yzerman's going to trade him. I think he's like, no way.
You think he's going to hold out?
You've got no.
Yeah,
I don't think he can't hold out. But they just signed Victor Arvidsson. They just got Kolazar from Vegas.
I love Keegan.
Exactly.
That's
I mean,
great
he's
signing.
and that's a guy who's bringing grit, can probably play in that, you know, middle six or bottom six. Middle six or bottom six in a pinch. You know, DeBrincat, they're talking about trading him, not because he's not going to resign. I mean, this is an unmitigated disaster. And I have a Steve Yzerman jersey in my closet. I do have a rule that you don't wear another man's name on your back past the age of 12. That's how long I've had the jersey, since I was 12. And I love Steve Yzerman. Like, you know, I grew up not too far from where he lived. I may have known some girls that would drive up to his driveway and try and flash their lights. Look, this Yzer plan has been an unmitigated disaster. And you can't hold on to prospects because prospects don't help you prosper. They're there. That's another one. They're there to bring in assets. And when you have Moritz Seider, Lucas Raymond, Simon Edvinsson, that is a core group right there that you should be building around. And you have Dylan Larkin in his prime, Alex DeBrincat coming off of 40 goals, Patrick Kane still being able to drive play. Like, you got to go out and get a number 2 center. And the fact that Dylan Larkin was like, last 4 years, I mean, look, I love David. I love me some David Perron and Justin Falk. We get all the former Blues players in Detroit.
Hey, we'll give you Suter.
I would have liked to have gotten. I would have liked to, you know, I would have liked to have gotten Robert Thomas.
Yes,
got a chance to do that. Here's the thing: we could have had Quinn Hughes. The deal was done. Yzerman didn't want to give a prospect away. It's like, what? Vancouver was okay. Anyways,
we need to have an entire Detroit episode.
I need an intervention where I can stop rooting for this team because it's been ridiculous. 8 years as the original 16. 10 years. What am I thinking? 8. Yzerman's been there 8 years. It's been 10 years since they've been in the playoffs. My son said to me, Dad, I don't remember when the Wings were ever in the playoffs. I was like, and I'm like,
just a death.
And you know what? He's right.
Yeah. Well, the only comparison I can make is at least you have an NFL football team because
true.
We used to have one, and for 10 years it was the dark ages, and we couldn't draft, and we were terrible and never could sniff the playoffs. So misery loves company. I hear you, and it's an original 6 franchise. I feel like
your football team won a Super Bowl. Remember, I'm also a Lions fan, and last couple seasons, that's another. They blew their window when they gave up a 21-point lead against San Francisco 3 years. Anyways, calm, breathe.
Well, on a
welcome back, Drew. Thanks for coming back.
On a brighter note, it's July, and the next thing you know, it will be August, and then we'll be talking about training camp.
Absolutely.
And then we'll be talking about games in preseason. But between now and then, we're going to continue to do what we've always done on this show, bring voices to youth hockey, whether it's coaches, associations and organizations around there, women's hockey, men's hockey, ACHA hockey, referees, USA hockey. This is what you're going to continue to see at Too Many Men on the Mic in year 2.
It's July. Go to the lake, go to the beach, go on a hike, put the sticks down, except for Ladue players on Friday. Make sure you come to Brentwood at 4:00. But those are fun. Have fun. Enjoy the weeks here. Enjoy the summer vacation. And again, this concludes our best of. It really kind of puts a bow on year 1. And I think I said this last week when you weren't in the room. And I'm always a fan of when you have something nice to say, you should say it to the person. But I can't thank you enough. And I'm so grateful that we're on this journey together. And we got a year 2.
Likewise, I could not imagine doing it with anybody else. And it has been so fun going on a tour, bringing these voices to youth hockey. Thanks for all the listeners out there. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. We'll see you in year 2. Have a great week.
He shoots, he scores.